Hi again. I'm still me, Sloan, the chick with the boots and the eyeliner and a ton of hats. Um, so, okay. Uh, where to begin? Where to begin? I told you I was going to do this video. I was going to say, I was going to tell you about this other book that I'm working on. In order to do that, I would have to first explain that my career for the last 20 years has been ghostwriting. I write books for other people in their voices, and I'm paid to walk away. I'm like the hooker of writing. You know, I take my name out of the project, I walk away because I'm paid, I'm done, and I walk away. That's what I do. Or that's what I did until I published my own book in my own voice, which took forever. Actually, it took 4 years for me to learn how to write in my own voice. Writer struggles, they're real. Um, all of that aside, I I am offering my services to survivors of any type of abuse. Um, I want to take their stories and I want to put it out there. I want to explain to other people how you can't just walk into that situation and save somebody, because if they're not wanting or willing to be saved because they still want to save the abuser, it's not going to go well for any of the parties involved. And I want to explain why, but I want to explain it from the insider's perspective. Kind of like a inside abuse for dummies kind of book. Um, I wrote my own autobiography. Uh, there's plenty of those kind of details in there, but I actually kind of tried to skate over that a bit because I didn't feel that the details were necessary to tell my life story. Not in that book, but in Silence Voices, I did write a chapter where I kind of chronicle it a bit better. I gave a bit more details. Talk about gory. The book itself, I was inspired to start writing it partly because of the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement got me thinking about a friend of mine, an old friend. She and I used to have a cigarette before I went into the train station for work, and she'd go back into her mother's building and stay in her apartment. She was in her mother's apartment because her abusive husband, had found her at the shelter that she was in, and he beat her, and she didn't know where to go, so she went to her mom's because she thought it was safe. And then one day, I live in the trifecta of sirens, by the way. There's a police station 2 blocks away from me, fire station 2 blocks away from me, and I'm right in between 4 hospitals. So like the trifecta for sirens. But I heard so many sirens one night, and then I never really saw Janelle again. Like I just didn't see her anymore. But there was this old lady that used to come out and bitch at us for, oh, smoking's going to kill you. You know, she was that old lady. And I asked her, how's Janelle doing? And she's like, oh my God, you haven't heard? I'm not really plugged into the local gossip, but it does all normally eventually get back to me. And she told me that Janelle's ex found her, and he bound and beat her mother to death in the apartment, and he bound, beat, and raped her on her rooftop, and then once she was dead, he dismembered her and set her on fire. And when I heard this, I remember hearing sirens, and all I could think of was, holy shit, that was going on while I was sitting there eating dinner. And I didn't even know. And I felt her story needed to be told. I don't know much of it. That's really all I know is the last little bits of it. Um, but it wasn't just her story that needed to be told. There are literally so many other people out there who have their own personal hell that they are walking around with a pit in their stomach that they are so afraid someone's going to look at them and just see it. I was there. I was there when I was 16 years old. I was there when I was 20 years old because it started for me since childhood, and then the boyfriend at 13. It was just, it needed to be told. And I feel that very, very strongly about most people. If they're in that situation and the family is trying to get you out in all the wrong ways, show up and beat the shit out of the boyfriend, and then you stay and help the boyfriend back to health because you're Florence Nightingale, and you're never going to get out of that situation. That's how you feel. Like you have to take care of them because you are their caretaker and they are yours. It's a twisted, symbiotic relationship. And the only way I could think to tell it was from the eyes of survivors. So, as a ghostwriter, what I've done, or decided to do, is to interview survivors and ghostwrite a chapter for each of them in a new book called Silence Voices. And each chapter being someone else's abuse story. But I only want survivors of abuse. I want people who have lived through it, gotten out, are on the other side, and can tell the story of getting to that other side and what it took for them to get there. That's the story I'm writing. That's the book that I'm writing now. I only have like maybe 5 chapters volunteered from a couple of different people. I would like to get more. I would like to be able to have 20 chapters and be able to walk into a publisher's office and say, here, I've got something you're going to want to see. That being said, if you or anyone you know is going through it, or has been going through it, or has gone through it, and there are numbers that you can call. I'm going to try to put them on here somewhere. And my personal email address is REIN as in Nancy, prosper@gmail.com. You can hit me up directly. Definitely anyone who wants to volunteer their story. I would really love to hear from you. If that is who you are and you are on the other side and you have survived, I want to tell you that there's more to life than just surviving. You can now learn how to actually live and thrive. That is the part of the story that we all seem to forget. We're so involved with the surviving part of it that we forget that we can actually go out there and fucking live. And I learned that recently. And I want, out of all of this, for us to know and to remember that life isn't just the thing that you survive, because you don't survive life. You don't get out of life afterwards and be like, oh, I've survived. No, you don't, because you die. We all do. But while we're here, we should be doing things that we love. We should be here really living life, spending time with the people that we absolutely adore, people who are positive for us, people who help us make a change, people who help us bring our dreams to life. And that's really what we should be doing. So yeah, that's one of the projects that I'm working on, and I would really love it if, if anyone wants to come out and give me their story. That would be amazing. If not, I'm still here anyway. And yeah, so that's the ins and outs of that one. And thank you guys for listening. Talk to you later.